Hello and welcome back to day 2 of the Global XR Conference. And we are here in the Starlight Room, and with us is Alex Markin, who is going
Hi
to talk
guys.
about boosting your business with VR, correct?
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for joining, Alex.
Oh,
I think you have a presentation with you that you're going to share with us.
let me
Correct?
share my screen and we can start. I will share entire screen. Let's try to do this.
I
So,
see it. Here we go. Well, thank you so much, I would say. Take it away. And also hide that little you're sharing your screen thingy at the bottom. Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So, hello guys, and I'm really happy to be here with you at the Global XR conference. My name is Alex, and during this session, I'll share ideas of how VR can boost the effectiveness of your business. First, let me tell you a bit more about us. We are JetStyle, a full-scale digital production studio, and since 2016, we've been actively engaged in VR development in different spheres, from gaming to engineering. And what I'm going to tell you today is based on actual projects that we deliver to our clients. It's not the theory, but the real life experience of how we implement VR and to achieve business goals of our clients. But before I tell you more about application of VR in these industries, why don't we take a look at the current state of VR? The hype related to metaverse is long gone. Metaverse is not a mainstream as it was predicted in 2021. Now it's immersive web era. So VR is still a niche product, but niches are growing and niches are good. And we can see actual benefits provided by VR. So let's talk about it. First, VR is amazing for corporate team building and all the kinds of corporate activities. So let's get back to pandemic years of 2021, so companies were looking for ways to conduct meetings. Zoom was not an ideal solution. It has a very specific social dynamics which cannot replace human interaction in any way. Flat screens, shared space, no cameras, etc., etc. We all now at the same conditions right now at this conference. So taking all employees, including remote workers, to, for example, Majorca Island, would be too costly and completely not easy task. So how else could you ensure immersion and human connection? VR became the solution. So you could take your team anywhere, including some unique, fantastic, hard-to-reach places. Just throw a staff party on a Venus, for example, or take your team to magical elf cave. I don't know, you name it. However, the problem of market penetration for the hardware is still there. So one core requirement for the companies is to ensure that employees have their headsets. That's the only tech requirement you have to deal with today. Let me show you some video. Yeah. I'll showing you some of the metaverse-based projects done by Jetstyle. They are made for our long-term partner and client, the Morpheus XR. It's US-based platform for enterprises. And Morpheus provide all-inclusive concierge service for companies like headset delivery, installment, orientation, content development, multimedia support. VR can be adapted to your unique business requirements. The key features of the VR spaces are immersion, native interaction with the environment, and inclusion. Very important thing, two or more people, for example, can get together and separate from the crowd easily, be in private, and discuss something. This is impossible in traditional Zoom meetings. In this video, you can see rooms, activities, people can have a couple of drinks in the metaverse, and it's totally legal in VR. Employees can choose whatever they experience they want and have it all together. So everything is possible in such virtual environment. Yeah, familiar guy, you know. Another great implementation of VR in a corporate world is working with a huge concept maps. It's the possibilities of a VR concept map editor compared with traditional two-dimensional one are totally endless. Let me show some video how it can be. The thing is, flat screen is often it's really not enough for visualization process and purposes. So VR give you an opportunity to navigate easily within the concept space, and you see it as a whole three-dimensional space. VR is also effective for corporate educational process. VR is a great solution to replace something that is expensive, dangerous, or inaccessible in reality. It cuts costs and decreases the possibility of workplace injuries. As an example, I would like to tell you about one of our projects with Huawei, which is a global tech corporation, and they constantly need to train hundreds of new employees every year. And it's extremely expensive to set up a training center in hundreds of countries all over the globe. And bringing employees to training venue is even more expensive. So it's a huge pain in the ass for any HR specialists. So let's look at this, how it could be. Now you are looking at our VR simulator for 5G network installment managers for Huawei. And why is it a cost-effective venue? Because it's incredibly expensive to use the actual stations as a training venues, as it means you have to stop operation of one single network cell. So even 1 day stop for a mobile operator, it's a huge cost. And VR allow you to create the digital copy of real life objects. It's like a VR classroom. The first VR simulator you saw on the previous slide was so effective, so Huawei asked us to develop the same for their warehouse and logistics department, and they even showcased this at the industry event, and it was quite successful demo. People line up in queues to try the simulator. Now Huawei used this simulator to train people all over the globe, and that allow them to really cut costs on education process. However, there are things that you have to keep in mind to ensure your VR education experience is cost effective. Cost of any VR educational app development consists of two main components: the hardware and the content creation costs. So hardware today is really accessible and relatively cheap, but content creation of one module may vary from 100K to 120K euros per module. And if you want your VR education app to be affordable, you should think ahead of all the courses you're planning to have. Otherwise, each new model will cost you as much as the first one. And you could save budget if you create a tool that will help you to update your content in VR and create the new one. It's a great resource saver for big companies. If you develop such an updatable tool, you'll be able to just replace content with the ready-made elements and multimedia without need for hire professional 3D specialists. If you find it difficult to distinguish between the parts that should be created separately to make it cost-effective, please don't hesitate to reach out and discuss this with us. And we've done it in many projects, so we can give you insights on this. Moving on to something a bit more entertaining. VR can be used to serve both entertainment and educational purposes. I'd like to tell you about VR Diver, an inclusive VR platform for swimming. Let's take a look at the case study. VR Diver is an experience you won't get anywhere else. It's completely accessible for all audiences. Provide unique body sensations because you are actually in the real water in real life and in VR at the same time. It provides unique body sensations because you are in the water, and in this project we were responsible for the visual part and all the beautiful content, and our partners provided the technical implementation of the hardware and hardware that tracks the swimmer's motion and making the experience completely immersive. What's next? Let's talk about how VR boosts your profitability if you work in tourism. Over the last 4 years, we developed several VR rides for different European cities, and VR rides add value to your tourist location. they provide new immersive experiences for the visitors as a part of the complex attraction. It can be entertainment centers, viewpoints, etc., etc. And VR is a great method to increase average check. The audience doesn't mind to pay extra for extra excitement when they are already in the consuming mode. So here is a case study of one of them, our most successful VR rides. It located in Adem Lookout observation deck in Amsterdam. And while you're watching the video, I'll share some thoughts about having a successful VR attraction. First, make sure your VR experience is an upsell, not a standalone item. As a part of your entertainment for additional fee. The plot or theme of the VR ride should be really good connected to the place it's located in. Our rides always reflect the key features of the cities they are in the historical and cultural context of the location. And don't forget about creativity and fantastic elements. The ride need to provide emotions that one can never experience in real life. For example, flying over a historical center on a high speed, or you meeting the dragon or something like this. And what's more, VR is incredibly cost efficient because it's adaptable. Our Adem ride was made back then in 2021, and 2 years later, the standards of 3D beauty have dramatically changed, and we decided to remaster the ride. For a pretty moderate budget and a short time, your VR ride can glow up and the plot stays exactly the same. Script is unchanged, but the visuals will be up to date. So take a look at the elements which we enriched with the modern 3D, visual effects, and animations. Also, VR is pretty awesome for selling expensive or hard to reach goods such as factories, ships, luxury yachts, stuff like this. So you can showcase pretty much everything in VR. Just take a couple of mobile headsets and come to your client. VR is perfect for remote sales. Companies use rental services to deliver VR equipment to your client and conduct your sales globally, wherever it is convenient for you and your best sales representatives. So let's look at these pretty chickens in the picture. This is a lighting equipment manufacturer sales a one-of-a-kind lighting system for a breeding chicken, and they could take their equipment to showcase at the conferences or invite potential clients to the demo farms, but it's really costly. Plus, it's pretty risky in terms of competition. But with VR, the company can have their poultry farm recreated in VR with all the lighting cycles reproduced in fine detail, and then all the sales demos can be conducted in VR, and this also prevents from information leakage and completely no unpleasant smells. Now let's move on to VR gaming. The background is the following. There is no mass adoption of VR at home yet, so location-based entertainment market is still relevant. For you, it's a great business opportunity to create games that can be play it on a mass market headsets like a Quest or Pico. And if you want your VR game to be loved by public, make sure that it's family friendly, so no blood, no violence, no gore. Second, it should provide multiplayer experience, as people usually visit arcades in groups, and it should have a pretty creative plot, be original. Now I'll show you some footage of the games Jetstyle has created all over the past few years. And the first one is Killer Tennis, an active multiplayer game with a stylish synthwave vibe. It's a cyber sport. It's really funky, fast-paced, competitive, engaging, and no blood, family-friendly. Really nice stuff for the VR arcades. Another one example is Battle Magic. It has a magical lore, looks like Harry Potter and Zootopia had a beautiful child. Again, multiplayer, non-violent, super family friendly, with a zero learning curve. The last idea is crucial. People don't want to spend time on onboarding. They want to play your game instantly. They pay usually per minute in arcade, so they want to spend all their money on a game, not on learning how to play the game. Another one, non-violent shooter with robots. All the underlying ideas the same. Really neat setting, robotic Wild West, game made for arcades. In particular, this game was later ported to home VR and was released on Steam for the home market. But back to serious stuff again. VR has been used in development and construction for many years. Developers can demonstrate apartments in VR, and VR became a way to present the 3D models in very immersive and attractive manner. Look at those textures, colors, lighting, all the little interior details. But again, note that content creation process should be cost effective. To make this, we need to make this process as much automated as possible. And this is example of this approach. In this one of our projects, the regular looks like regular architectural visualization, and usually specialists spend at least 1 month to create such a model. And if you have 3D models of your apartment and interior elements, like a digital twin of your project, we can make a real-time VR experience automatically. So you don't have to spend a lot of money and time to creating something like this with all the variants you want. It will be updated in real time and could be interactive. It has been impossible until recently. But with a BIM model, you can have such impressive automatic visualization now. Construction, a high-risk niche that greatly benefits from VR. And VR gives you a possibility to create a digital twin of the building and experiment with your client's ideas. Working with a digital twin, you can introduce changes into construction plan earlier, and it's much more cost effective than fixing possible mistakes in a post-production period. As in Yeah. Okay, guys, we almost done. I showcased some examples of how VR benefits from different areas of business. So now let me draw some conclusions. First, make sure you use VR to solve a specific business task, not just for the hype. Secondly, businesses tend to have some doubts whether VR is even worth investing in. There is a common misconception that this is expensive and hard to set up. It was true, but only in past, several years ago. Today, headsets are much, much more affordable and convenient. The price starts at $300, and Meta promises their new consumer light version of the Quest 3 headset will be released next year for price tag about $200, which is pretty awesome, I think. Another issue with the hardware, back in the days, VR used to require a specific type of powerful equipment like powerful PCs, special training, and special venue. Now, all you need is just a headset, a stable internet connection, and some small space at your area. That's it. Besides, new rental services are emerging and they provide you with all the necessary equipment. That's it for my presentation for today. I really hope that you got some inspiration and ideas for implementing VR into your business flow. So thank you guys for listening to me, and thank to the Global XR Conference team for creating this wonderful event. I'd be happy to answer your question if there are any, or just get in touch with me whenever it's convenient for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you. That's really interesting. And I live close to Amsterdam, so I'm going to try this ride. I really want to ride a dragon around Amsterdam now.
The Adam Tower is the best. I really recommend.
So did you just talked about the Quest 3 and that it's affordable and everything, but before that you showed some like really what looked like really high resolution graphics stuff. Is that all running on mobile headsets like the Quest? Or are you still using really?
Really, but there is a
Amazing.
trick. There is a trick for
remote rendering or
yeah, sure. We are still living in real world, so Quest hardware is pretty neat. Quest 3 hardware is even better, but still it can't give you ray tracing or all this stuff. But right now the bandwidth, modern internet connection is so good, so you can have your rendering machine in the co-location on your provider. You can have several such machines, and you can run one when you need it for your client to show him this, and he can or she could use their regular Quest headset, their home Wi-Fi, or even mobile Wi-Fi, it's totally enough for streaming picture to the headset. So pretty for the client, they're using only mobile headset, and that's it.
Awesome. Oh, that's really awesome. What kind of solution are you using for that? For the streaming and the rendering? Is that your own or?
Open source solutions right now is pretty works pretty well. You can start like playing with a virtual desktop, but there are many analogs which is open source. You can use it. So you can up and run it on your small private cloud, and have it for your clients.
Interesting. That's really cool. We actually got some questions from the audience.
Oh yeah.
First, you got a lot of compliments. Chris is asking, are you using Omniverse and digital twins?
When we're speaking of digital twins, I'm mostly speaking about BIM modeling. Omniverse is a nice thing, but sometimes it's too modern for the customers, because when I'm speaking of BIM models, we working with a lot of guys who are running engineering modeling for their customers, and they use things like Revit, like Autodesk 360. So the previous generation of this idea. Omniverse is a nice thing, but it's too modern for industry. A bit.
So, and Chris, he's answering to, he says, so no simulation in this case.
In what case?
Yeah, Chris, in what case? You have to elaborate on that. So let me, in the meantime, while Chris answers that, show you another one, which is Pauline, who says, wow, underwater VR. And somebody else wants to know where the swimming experience is.
Thank you, Pauline. Yeah, swimming experience is really nice thing, because you have really realistic sensations when you diving. You have water around you. You don't feel the actual this cord that from behind you, which is actually a tracking device. It sense the direction of where you're swimming. So it's not a static experience. It's totally interactive. You swim forward, and you swim forward in VR, but with a bit greater speed, because it's not a sport thing. It's entertainment thing in the first place. So you should experience magical things around you. So you diving deeper and deeper in magical sea, see all the beautiful things like fishes and sharks and glowing seaweeds, stuff like this. So
that sounds.
And
that sounds
really a good thing in terms of accessibility, because there is a lot of disabled people who can actually experience this kind of experience in their lives and safe. So a lot of children with problems with the legs and stuff like this can have something magical in their lives. So it's really a nice project.
That sounds great. It must be also a lot of fun to work on.
Oh yeah.
Actually, Chris has come back. So he asked about the simulation. And he said you talked about you showed an interior, and you talked about digital twins. And his question is, are you also simulating? How I understand, are you also simulating the whole environment, like the elements in the house, or like what part of the, what's the twin part? Is it everything, or is it just a part of what you're looking at?
okay, the key idea of this application is to give ability to architects and developers to they have their models of what they design, living blocks with the apartments, completely different plannings, each unique. They have it in BIM model. They are precisely modeled, but the level of there are several problems. Level of detail of this model is still not enough to show this model to end customer who wish to actually buy a house, buy a flat, which should look like I show you in this video. Beautiful with all the lighting, all the textures, all the details. It's still not enough, but they need to have this like a conveyor to have ability really rapidly and easy convert these simple but still complex BIM models into something which will be good at presentation. So our solution should solve this problem. We can take their model and enrich it with the materials, some details, because nobody in real life don't model all the tiny details like books in the bookshelves, like glasses, furniture, things like this. But it should be there. So we need to give them ability to rapidly transform this to this.
How do you do that? Do you use like procedural modeling, or do you maybe use artificial intelligence?
No, we use regular intelligence like human.
Just people.
It should be solved half automatically. So in this, what you see with this beautiful flat, there is no techniques used that we regularly use in past. So you may see such VR renderings a lot because people like to present their their architectural visualization in VR, but always it involve the manual process of transforming it to something that should be displayed in real time in VR, because you need to bake light, bake all the materials, so it will be pretty static, and basically the flat of this size, several rooms with all utilization, usually took about 2 weeks maybe of working.
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
And it is pretty expensive for one flat because you want to have a lot of these flats, different kinds, and you want to be able to rapidly switch, for example, color of the walls, move the furniture in your client presence, because you want to put your client in this room and he want to say to you, okay, move this chair over there. And you don't want to say to the customer, oh, wait several days, we need to rebake lighting gears here. No. Everything you saw there, it's real time and rendering only on real time hardware. So everything is interactive. You can drag a sun and the lighting will change dramatically, but it still stands look beautiful because of their materials and proper architecture.
Yeah, great. And then stream to the headset. Well, that sounds really awesome. So yeah, there are no more questions, and I also have no more questions. And I would like to thank you for this really cool presentations. And I'm looking forward to the dragon flight.
Yeah, yeah. And I fit in 36 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.